Okay, let us pray. Ama namin na sa langit, nagpapasalamat po kami ngayong araw na to at nagkaroon naman po kami ng opportunity para matuto. Gabayan niyo po ang bawat isa sa amin, lalo na po si Sir na makapagturo po sa amin na madami po kami matutunan sa kanya. Bless niyo po kami na, na maging madali sa amin lahat. Tulungan niyo po kami, bigyan niyo po kami lakas ng katawan. Kaya pong bahala sa amin ang mga lahat na ito hinihiling at iniwan namin sa ngalan ni Jesus Cristo. Amen.
Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good morning. So, how's everyone? Kumusta kayo?
Morning, sir.
Good morning. Kumusta naman kayo? Kumusta ang mga exams ninyo?
Nice lang, sir.
Okay naman. I am glad that all of you got a passing score, a good passing score in the prelim examination. And particularly, we also have to congratulate the one who got the highest score. I think it's Olga. Where is Olga Tan? Tama ba? Where is Olga Tan? I think he's not yet with us today. The one who got the highest score in the exam is Olga Tan. Sarah Jane, and the other one is Eris Noel. So the three of them got the highest grade. Okay, they got 79 to 80 in the said examination. Okay, I already have computed your grade. I already have submitted it to the program chair or to the department head of the general education department, and no one failed. Okay, no one failed in the preliminary term. Okay, no one failed in the preliminary term, and we also have to congratulate the top three in class. Okay, based from their preliminary grades. The top three in class, okay, are the following. Anyway, I'll post your grades later once the class record will be returned to me. I'll post that in the LMS, and you will be able to see only your grade, okay, in the said platform. So the highest is Tan Olga. Okay, Olga is the highest. I know, not Tan Olga, sorry. It is the top one is Monino Sarah Jane. Okay, then followed by Tan Olga, and we also have Maramag Fiola and Felipe Alanis. Okay, so those are the top three, okay, in the preliminary term for readings in Philippine history. Okay, so may we listen from may we listen to Monino Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane, is Sarah Jane around? Sarah Jane? Yeah, Sarah? Hello, Sarah?
Sir?
You might want to share your secret. What are your study habits and how were you able to manage getting a grade of, should I announce your grade in history? Okay lang ba sa'yo?
Okay lang, sir.
Sarah got 93, okay, in the preliminary term. May we request Sarah to share her secret or to share her study habits so that others may also learn and may also imitate the way she is learning the material or she is learning in this new normal in the educational landscape. Sarah, please, how did you manage to earn such good grades for
Sir,
preliminary?
hindi ba 79 lang ako doon?
79 sa exam, yes. Sa exam, you're 79 sa exam, but the computation of your grade, your final grade for prelims is 93.
Okay. Ginagawa ko kasi, sir, is pagka nagre-review ako, dapat sinusulat ko yung mga nire-review ko para matandaan ko kung ano yung kailangan tandaan, tapos yung mga terms niya po.
Then, do you also replay the videos, the recorded videos, if in case?
Yes, sir. Yun yung pinapanood ko pagka para ma-check ko rin kung may kulang ba dun sa sinulat ko or okay na siya.
Okay, so that's a secret from Sarah. I hope the others would also learn from that to take down notes during conferences or during lectures online. And to, yeah, not only during lectures, while you are reading, no, while you are reading the materials in the learning management system, you take down notes of important concepts so that you could easily remember those concepts. Okay, congratulations, Sarah. I hope that you sustain that or you even increase that grade.
Sir,
Okay, yes, Sarah.
ask ko lang dun sa number 16. Ano
Mhm.
po? Yung autobiography po ba, hindi po ba siya primary source?
Ang biography is something written by the person himself.
Autobiography,
Autobiography is written by
autobiography.
autobiography is written by someone else. So it's a secondary source.
Oh,
Pag sinabi mong biography, it's written by the person himself. For
I
example,
thought,
I'll write my own story, that's my biography. Pero if it's an autobiography, it's written by someone else for you. So
sige sir. Thank you
that
po.
makes it secondary source. Okay, thank you for the clarification because that might appear still in the midterm examination because the midterm examination consists of 70% from the midterms and 30% from the prelims. Similarly with finals, 70% from finals and 30% from the midterm exam. So ganun po gumawa ng exam sa St. Louis. Hindi natin kinakalimutan yung mga previous discussion dahil bahagi pa rin siya ng mga susunod na mga pagsusulit. Okay? Again, congratulations, Sarah and the others who belong to the top three. We also have Tan Olga, followed by, we also have the other two. The top three is, we also have Felipe Alaniz, and the other one, the other one, but the other one is Maramag Fiola. Okay, so they are the top three in class when it comes to the final preliminary grade. So I hope the others also, please don't worry because no one failed. Okay, no one failed during the preliminary term, and that's a good sign that indeed you're helping yourself learn the materials or learn during this online learning or blended learning. Okay? So we will no longer be discussing about the Gunita ng Himagsikan, but we proceed immediately to the next primary source, which is the Declaration of Philippine Independence. I hope that the others have already read the material. I hope that you already have started reading the material as regards the Declaration of Philippine Independence. And I also would like to thank the three students who already have posted their contribution in the discussion thread, okay, the discussion thread for this week on changing the lyrics of the national anthem. These students are the following. Okay, Micah, thank you for contributing. Regeline and even Olga Tan. Four students already contributed. Olga Tan and last is Joanna Marie Cadiz. So I hope these four students would not forget to also react to others' responses, to others' answer to the discussion thread. So anyway, you're given up to Saturday to contribute to the discussion thread and do not forget to study the rubrics on how will I give you score in the said assessment. Okay, so may we now proceed to our first discussion for midterms, and that is on the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Okay, so we now proceed to this primary source on the Declaration of Philippine Independence, okay, by the National Historical Institute, particularly authored. The text is particularly authored by Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista. The original title of the document is the Acta de la Proclamación de la Independencia del Pueblo Filipino. Again, Acta de la Proclamación de la Independencia del Pueblo Filipino, or in English, the Act of the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Okay, as we have said, the document has been published during our centennial celebration, the Philippine centennial celebration. Okay, and the document was written in 1898. Okay, in 1898 during the First Philippine Republic. Okay, and the original document is being provided by the National Historical Institute in 1997. And this is what we are to study because this is the start of the Philippines as a nation. The author of though the document is being kept by the National Historical Institute, it does not mean that it's the NHI who authored the document, but rather it was written by one of the advisors of Emilio Aguinaldo, who is Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista. So here's a summary about Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista. Okay, that he became a member of the La Liga Filipina Cuerpo de Compromisarios en la Propaganda. We made mention of this during our discussion on Emilio Jacinto's Partilla ng Katipunan about the rise of brotherhood or even organizations during the age of enlightenment, during the age of enlightenment. And as it is mentioned in this document or in this presentation, Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista is a member of these movement or of these groups, the La Liga Filipina, which was organized by Dr. Jose Rizal, the Cuerpo de Compromisarios, which was organized by Apolinario Mabini, and La Propaganda. Please take note that Apolinario Mabini is also one of the advisors of Emilio Aguinaldo. Ambrosio Bautista studied law at the University of Santo Tomas. Well, you know, UST is it's the oldest school in the Philippines, and it's the only school in the Philippines, okay, whose head is no other than the Roman Catholic Pope. Okay, then he was born in December 17, 1830 in Binyan, Laguna. His parents are Gregorio Enriquez Bautista Silvestra Altamira. He died in December 4, 1903 at age of 72. Cause of death is a fatal fall from a horse-drawn carriage. Okay? Nahulog siya, okay, mula sa kabayo, okay? At ang pagkakabagsak niya ang kanyang ikinamatay. Okay? So, other than that, here are the other information about Rianzares or about Bautista. He solicited funds to finance a campaign for reforms in the Philippines. Okay, so he was one of those Filipinos, okay, who really sought for freedom, who really sought for reforms in the Philippine government during the Spanish colonial era. He became a member of the La Liga Filipina, as we have said, for Cuerpo de Compromisarios en la Propaganda. He was arrested and imprisoned at Fort Santiago by the Spaniards because of his because of his because of his work of campaigning for Philippine reform or reform in the Philippine government during the colonial era of Spain. He was arrested because he was suspected of being involved in the Philippine Revolution. Remember the Philippine Revolution, as we discussed, as you have read, should I say, in the Gunita ng Himagsikan by Emilio Aguinaldo. The Philippine Revolution involved, okay, the members of the KKK, and please take note that Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista is a member of KKK. Indeed, okay, he's really involved in the Philippine Revolution. Only that he managed to defend himself and was eventually released. Okay, he was able to defend himself and hence he was released. Okay. Aside from that, he became the first advisor to President Emilio Aguinaldo in 1898. Hence, he was the one who prepared the Acta Proclamacion because he was the advisor then of President Aguinaldo in 1898. Contrary to common belief, it was Bautista and not Aguinaldo who waved the Philippine flag before the jubilant crowd. Please take note of that because we often see pictures, okay, in the house, or we often see pictures of the house or of the balcony of Emilio Aguinaldo in Kawit Cavite, okay, Kawit Cavite, should I say, that it was him who was waving the Philippine flag during the declaration of Philippine independence in June 12, 1898. But it was not Aguinaldo, but no other than Ambrosio Bautista who waved, okay, who waved the said, who waved the said Philippine flag. Okay. Then, in July 14, 1899, he was elected to the position of president in the Revolutionary Congress in Tarlac. Okay? In 1899 kasi, merong nagkaroon ng rigodon, okay, rigodon sa Philippine government, okay? Philippine government o pamumuno nito ni Emilio Aguinaldo, at dahil nagkaroon ng panibagong kongreso o yung mga tagagawa ng batas, okay, siya ang na-elect o siya ang na-elect bilang presidente ng kongreso. Ang katumbas ng pagiging presidente ng Revolutionary Congress ngayon ay tinatawag natin yung Congress, yung tinatawag natin House of Legislative Branch of the Government o yung mga gumagawa ng batas, at yung House of the House Speaker, yung tinatawag natin yung katumbas ng President of the Revolutionary Congress during that year or during that time. Then was later appointed Judge of the Court of First Instance of Pangasinan. So naging judge siya ng court ng Pangasinan. Okay? Edit lang natin itong si Alanis. Okay. Now we proceed now to the historical background of the document. In the material I provided you in the NMS, we made mention of the Spanish-American War there. Okay, the Spanish-American War, that was in April 1898. Okay, there's what we call as the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. And what was this all about? It's about, okay, the Spanish-American War is the result of the United States of America's intervention in Cuban Wars of Independence. During that time po kasi, ang Latin America ay pinamumunuan o na-colonize ng Spain. Okay, na-colonize ng Spain, kasama nga ang Pilipinas sa na-colonize ng Espanya, ng bansang Spain. Ngayon, that time, okay, because of the Enlightenment, of course, the Enlightenment period, that really have influenced colonies of the different powerful countries to really work for their liberty, to work for their freedom. That also inspired the Cubans, okay, to wage war against Spanish authorities, okay. And because USA that time intervened, okay, during the Cuban War, okay, and because of their intervention, that led Spain to consider them as enemy during those times. Hence, the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. It was also during that time that the United States attacked Spain's Pacific possession, which led to the involvement in the Philippine Revolution. Remember that the Philippines is part of the Pacific. Okay, the Philippines is an island in the Pacific Ocean, and because U.S. attacked Spain's Pacific possession, okay, particularly that of Western South American continent, okay, and the West South American continent, okay, is part of the Pacific, okay, part of the Pacific, and the Philippines is an island in the Pacific Rim, the Pacific region. Hence, okay, Philippines, whether we like it or not, that time will certainly be involved, okay, will certainly be involved in United States attack in Spain's Pacific possession. Commodore George Dewey then of the United States ship Olympia sailed from Hong Kong to Manila. Okay, they sailed from Hong Kong to Manila Bay and led the Asiatic Squadron of the U.S. Navy. Please take note that part of the Spanish-American War is the Battle of Manila Bay. Okay, Battle of Manila Bay. Kaya ito, okay, dahil pumunta si George Dewey dito sa Manila Bay, nagkaroon dyan ng labanan sa Manila Bay, itatawag natin Battle of Manila Bay, where Emilio Aguinaldo decided to return to the Philippines and help Americans defeat the Spaniards. During that time po kasi, si Emilio Aguinaldo, he was exiled to Hong Kong. Okay, he was exiled to Hong Kong because he was part of the Philippine Revolution. And at isa sa mga parusa noon, kapag napatunayan yung kasalanan mo, isa sa mga parusa noon ay ang pagiging isa sa mga parusa noon is for you to be exiled from your place of origin to a foreign place. And Aguinaldo was exiled to Hong Kong. But unknowingly, during that time, Emilio Aguinaldo has already been having conversations, okay, with Americans in Hong Kong, okay, to help the Philippines, okay, gained their freedom from Spain. So at the Battle of Manila Bay, okay, the Battle of Manila Bay, the Spaniards were defeated. And because of the defeat of the Spaniards, Emilio Aguinaldo returned in Cavite, okay, returned in Cavite, okay, and made mention that the Philippines, or that Emilio Aguinaldo is already an ally of the United States of America. Please take note also, please take note also that some historians would tell us that the Battle of Manila Bay is not actually a battle, but rather a mock battle. Kunwari ang labanan na lamang yung nangyari sa Battle of Manila Bay. Kasi nga during that time, kapag powerful country ka at bigla mo na lang at bigla ka na lang sumuko, it would not be a good record during those times. So ang ginawa ng ng Spain at ng US ay nagkaroon sila ng isang kasunduan, nagkaroon sila ng isang agreement, okay, na ang Pilipinas ay mapupunta sa mapupunta sa Amerika, at ang mga iba pang mga colony ng Spain ay mapupunta talaga sa Amerika to end the Spanish-American War. And during that time kasi nagkakadagulo na rin sa Spain, parang naghihirap na rin ang Spain during that time, at hindi na nila nakokontrol yung kanilang mga kolonya. So Spain weakened as a powerful nation, as a powerful country during those times. At dahil US is rising, okay, as the most powerful countries during those times, walang nagawa ang Espanya kundi isuko na lamang yung kanyang mga kolonya sa USA. Kaya to end the Spanish-American War, nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating Treaty of Paris. Okay, dun sa Treaty of Paris, Treaty of Paris ba tawag doon? I forgot. Okay. Sorry, I suddenly forgot the term. Okay. Doon sa treaty, saglit lang Okay. So to end the Spanish-American War, okay, nagkaroon ng kasunduan, sabi mo kanina, nagkaroon ng kasunduan ang Espanya at ang USA. Okay? And the Spanish-American War was concluded through an agreement, okay, through an agreement, and that treaty is what we call as the Treaty of Paris, which ended the Spanish-American War in December 10, 1898. So meaning to say, the Treaty of Paris, part of the Treaty of Paris, part of the agreement is for Spain to renounce all claims to Cuba, okay, even Guam and even Puerto Rico. Please take note that Cuba, Guam, Puerto Rico, these are all parts of the South American continent to the United States, and transferred sovereignty over the Philippines to the United States. Ibinenta po tayo ng Spain sa USA sa nagkakahalagang $20 million. Okay? So binenta po tayo. Hindi po totoo yung Battle of Manila Bay, dahil yun lamang po ay kunwa-kunwari ang labanan para lamang maipakita ng Spain na lumaban sila hanggat sa kahuli-hulihan. Okay? So kunwari na lamang iyon, maraming buhay ang sinakripisyo sa Battle of Manila Bay, pero talagang nagpatalo ang Spain during that time. Okay? Now, it was because of the victory of USA that led to Aguinaldo, okay, to declare, okay, our independence from Spanish colonial rule. Okay? Hence, it was on June 12, 1898, that Philippine independence was proclaimed. This figure, okay, is the actual label of the site in Kawit Cavite, where the Philippine independence in June 12, 1898 was proclaimed. Okay? Now we proceed to the contextual analysis, or the series of events that led, okay, to the declaration of the Act of Independence. So there are a series of events that we have to understand, okay, during the declaration of our independence. Ito nabanggit ito dun sa document mismo. Later we will be reading the document. Sige. We will be reading the document. Allow me to share this document about the English version of the English version of the Philippine the Act of Declaration. Okay, i-share ko sa inyo itong document. Okay. I'll read the document for you. Okay, so this is the document. Allow me to zoom it. This is the English version. Okay. So it says there, the Act of Proclamation of Independence of the Filipino people, okay, was declared in the town of Cavite Viejo. Viejo means old, okay? Cavite Viejo, province of Cavite, this 12th day of June 1898. Kaya ngayon tanong dun sa exam ninyo, aling probinsya, okay, sa Pilipinas ang unang na-declare na malaya mula sa pamahalaang Kastila, ito ay ang Cavite. So it says there, before me, Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista, War Councilor and Special Delegate designated to proclaim and solemnize this Declaration of Independence for the Territorial Government of the Philippines, pursuant to and by virtue of a decree issued by the egregious dictator Don Emilio Aguinaldo E. Fami. The undersigned assemblage of military chiefs and others of the army could not attend, as well as representatives of the various towns. Taking into account the fact that the people of this country are already tired of bearing the ominous yoke of Spanish domination, because of arbitrary arrests and abuses of the civil guards, who caused deaths in connivance with and even under the express orders of the superior officers, who at times would order the shooting of those placed under arrest under the pretext that they attempted to escape in violation of known rules and regulations, which abuses were left unpunished, and because of unjust deportations of illustrious Filipinos, especially those decreed by General Blanco. General Blanco then was the Governor General during that time, at the instigation of the Archbishop and friars interested in keeping them in ignorance for egoistic and selfish ends, which deportations were carried out through processes more execrable than those of the Inquisition, which every civilized nation repudiates as a trial without hearing. So this is the English version of the text, okay, of the text about the Act of Declaration. Okay? Now, we try to discuss yung content ng nasabing declaration. Okay? We proceed to the presentation again. Okay. Now, the content mention of the lost independence and sovereignty of the Philippines. The declaration itself mentioned about Ferdinand Magellan landed on the shores of Cebu and occupied said island by means of a pact of friendship with Chief Tupas, although he was killed in the battle that took place in said shores, to which battle he was provoked by Chief Kalipulaco of Mactan, who was Lapu-Lapu. Okay? Si Lapu-Lapu or Chief Kalipulaco. At tinawag nila itong Lapu-Lapu. So it was mentioned there how Spain arrived in the Philippines and how they rediscovered the Philippines. Aside from that, they also mentioned about Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who landed on the island of Bohol by entering into a blood compact with his chief si Catuna, and later went to Manila. Later, you will learn about the painting of Juan Luna about the blood compact. Okay? Nilagay niya sa painting niya kung paano nagkaroon ng agreement si Miguel Lopez de Legazpi at itong si Raha si Catuna or Chief si Catuna. And later went to Manila, winning the friendship of Chief Soliman and Lacandula, and later taking possession of the city and the whole archipelago in the name of Spain by virtue of an order of King Philip II. That's why the Philippines was named after this king, King Philip, hence we are called Philippines or the Philippines. International law does not recognize such vicious acquisition of private property. So at that time, there was no such thing as an international law that would tell or that would validate the acquisition of the Philippines by Spain. Pero dineclare ng Spain na pagmamayari nila ang Pilipinas in the name of King Philip II. During that time, there's no such thing as international agreement yet among nations, because it was the age of exploration, it was the age of discovery of new lands. Okay? And the document also mentioned about the inequality between the Spanish and Filipinos experienced by our ancestors during the Spanish colonial rule. Okay, what kind of society do they have in 1898? The document would tell us that there was arbitrary arrest. Ibig sabihin arbitrary, walang basehan, walang sapat na basehan, walang sapat na ebidensyang pag-aaresto ng mga Filipino, ng mga Filipino natives and the abuses of the civil guards. So yung mga pulis na tinatawag natin, yung mga civil guards noon ay katumbas ng mga pulis ngayon. So there were plenty of abuses by the civil guards, by the Spanish civil guards. There were trial without hearing of the Filipinos, okay, who were involved in the Philippine Revolution, who really worked for freedom and sovereignty of the Philippines. And there's unjust deportation sa illustrious Filipinos. Deportation sa tatawag natin exile, no? Pag-exile ng mga Pilipino. So, yung mga ibang mga Pilipino na nakikitaan nila na wala man lang sapat na ebidensya na isa nila na maging miyembro ng mga Philippine Revolution ay pinapadala sa iba't ibang bansa, sa iba't ibang malalayong lugar bilang parusa. And these are unjust deportations of Filipinos. People are tired of bearing the ominous yoke, should I say not joke, yoke of Spanish domination. They're really tired already. Filipinos are already tired of the kind of government that we have during those times, okay, under Spanish government. Please take note that, di ba sinabi natin that Andres Bonifacio, okay, and even Emilio Aguinaldo believed that there's only one way for them to gain their freedom and for them to change or for them to have change in the Philippine government, and that's only through revolution because the propaganda movement didn't work. The Reformation movement didn't work because of the deportation of Rizal in the Titan or even the arrest of Dr. Jose Rizal. Okay? So yun nga. Then aside from that, it was also mentioned, okay, in the document, the establishment of Biak na Bato, okay, the establishment of Biak na Bato to gain independence and sovereignty. Okay? The purpose of the Biak na Bato, okay, this is the first government being formed, okay, during the Spanish colonial rule, okay, to liberate Philippines from the yoke of Spanish dominion. They really would like, even pinagkaiba ng Reformation and Revolution. Reformation would just seek for Philippines to be recognized as a as a province of Spain. But unfortunately, that was not being granted to the Philippines because that time there was also a problem in Spain itself. Okay, in Spain. So that's why they from Reformation movement they moved to a revolution movement now seeking for liberation from Spain, total liberation of the Philippines from Spanish authorities or from Spanish government. So there were abuses and unjust execution of Rizal for opposing the friars' Machiavellian ends. Religious corporation abuses such as execution of Gomburza. Pag sabi natin Machiavellian ends, we are referring to killings. Okay? This is a philosophy na ito ang filosofiya ni Niccolo Machiavelli na sinasabi niya kapag kaaway mo patayin mo and others. So this is the kind of government that we have during the Spanish colonial times. Yung mga kaaway ng mga Espanyol, mga kaaway ng mga Kastila, sila papatay na lamang nila. Hence, there were unjust practices during those times. Okay? And religious corporation abuses such as execution of Gomburza. Remember the famous priest, okay? The famous Filipino priest who sought for secularization of the Filipino church. Ibig sabihin ng secularization, ito yung tinatawag natin na baka pwede nang gawing mga bishop o gawing leader ng mga simbahan ng mga Pilipino at gawing parish priest na ang mga Pilipino sa mga iba't ibang simbahan. Pero that time kasi mga Spanish friars lang ang pinapayagan na maging parish priest ng mga iba't ibang towns sa Pilipinas. Na gusto ng mga Pilipino na pwedeng gawin din silang mga parish priest ng nasabing mga towns kasi qualified naman sila bilang mga pari. But Spanish authorities, okay, didn't give in to that request of the Filipino priest. So there were also oppressions. Kaya nga sabi ng mga iba, ang Pilipinas daw ay parang dalaga na ginahasa ng mga Espanyol, okay, sa 300 years or more than 300 years pamumuno nila sa Pilipinas. At sawang-sawa ng mga Pilipino sa mga pang-aabusong ito, kaya nga nagkaroon ng establishment of Biak na Bato government to work for the liberation of the Philippines. It was also mentioned about conferring to dictator Don Emilio Aguinaldo all the powers necessary to enable him to discharge the duties of the government, including the prerogatives of granting pardon and amnesty. So parang doon sa declaration, doon sa document, sinabi na rin doon that they recognize Emilio Aguinaldo to be the leader, to be the dictator or the leader of that government, of that first Philippine Republic. Okay? So that's a picture of Emilio Aguinaldo. Okay, so kaya sinasabi natin, Emilio Aguinaldo is the self-proclaimed president of the Philippines Because Ambrosio Rienzas Bautista is the advisor of Emilio Aguinaldo. Siyempre, kung anong sabihin ni Aguinaldo, yun din ang susulat ni Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista. So he was the only self-proclaimed president of the Philippines, Emilio Aguinaldo. But please take note, you have to check this, that the first national leader of the Philippines is not Emilio Aguinaldo. Actually, if we are to dig documents or primary documents about Philippine history, then it would tell us that it was not Aguinaldo who is the first national leader of the Philippines, and it's not a parliamentary form of government, okay, that we have in the Philippines, but the first national leader, okay, of the Philippines is no other than Andres Bonifacio, the founder of the Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga Anak ng Bayan, the KKK. And the first form of government that we have under the leadership of Andres Bonifacio is a monarchical form of government because Bonifacio was called as Supremo during that time. But during the time of Aguinaldo, he was called a dictator because we have a parliamentary form of government during those times, during the first Philippine Republic. Okay? And letter D, the document also mentioned about the Filipino Revolutionary Forces under General Emilio Aguinaldo, who proclaimed the sovereignty and independence of the Philippine Islands from the colonial rule of Spain. Please take note also that that Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista was advisor in 1898 of Emilio Aguinaldo. Why was he became the advisor? Prior to being the advisor of Emilio Aguinaldo, the advisor of Emilio Aguinaldo is no other than Apolinario Mabini. Kaya nga siya tinawag ng utak ng himagsikan because it was Apolinario Mabini who really provide good advices for Emilio Aguinaldo on how they are supposed to conduct, on how they are supposed to do the Philippine Revolution or how they are supposed to wage war against Spanish authorities. Kaya siya tinawag ng utak ng himagsikan. But he was replaced. Okay, he was replaced by Aguinaldo in 1898 because Apolinario Mabini did not agree with Emilio Aguinaldo to declare the Philippine independence in 1898. He did not agree for the Declaration of Independence because Apolinario Mabini, said that the Philippines, that the whole nation is not yet ready because there are still battles, there are still ongoing conflicts, there are still ongoing battles, in the different parts of the Philippines during that year. Kaya hindi pwede na i-declare, sabi ni Mabini, antayin muna natin na matapos lahat ng mga labanan, na matapos ang lahat ng mga ito bago mo i-declare o bago mo sabihin na malaya na ng tuluyan ng Pilipinas mula sa pamamahala ng mga Kastila. But Aguinaldo didn't listen to the advice of Mabini. Hence, Aguinaldo replaced Mabini as the advisor and has appointed Rienzares Bautista, Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista, to be the advisor. Hence, it was Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista who prepared the Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence. Now, this is a screenshot of the Spanish version of the Acta de la Proclamación de la Independencia del Pueblo Filipino, and I captured this from the online library or e-library of the University of Santo Tomas. So nabanggit lahat diyan, Biak na Bato and others. There's one thing na hindi nabanggit. Dito sa document na ito. Okay, wala man lang nabanggit na Andres Bonifacio about doon sa pagkakabuo ng KKK, o ng Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng Anak ng Bayan. Walang nabanggit about the document. This would tell us na indeed there was really a conflict between Aguinaldo and that of Bonifacio. Aguinaldo in the declaration, Rienzares Bautista in the declaration has never mentioned about Andres Bonifacio's forming, or founding the KKK. Walang nabanggit. So dito natin makikita na kapag hindi mo kapartido ang nasabing tao, ay talagang hindi mo siya babanggitin sa isang napakahalagang dokumento. Okay, doon nabanggit ang Katipunan, pero hindi nabanggit ang KKK. Okay, nabanggit si Emilio Aguinaldo dito bilang susi daw Philippine Revolution, ng pagiging matagumpay ng Philippine Revolution, but Bonifacio has never been mentioned. Okay? Ay sinasabi natin na so yan po, ito po yung mismong Spanish version ng sabing act. Okay? And Viejo de la Provincia de Cavite and yung 12 de Junio 1898, Antony, Don Ambrosio, Rienzares, Bautista, Auditor de Guerra, at Guerra is war leader. And Comisionado Especial Designido para proclamar y solemnizar este acto por el gobierno dictatorial de estas Islas Filipinas para los fines y en virtud de la seguridad por eminente dictator del mismo Don Emilio Aguinaldo if family recognizes the leader of this government. Okay, and others. So, na-mention din doon sa last part ng nasabing document na kailangan gumamit tayo ng common flag as a nation, as we are already a free nation. Binanggit din dito yung ibig sabihin ng flag. Ito sinabi dito. Allow me to read it. Okay? Ito, nilagay dito. Ano ba yun? Yung part na sinabi doon. Ito. Ito ko rin sa Rizal, nabanggit din yan. Yung Bomburga, nabanggit din siyaan. Hindi ko makita dito sa Ito, dito part yung nabanggit yung ibig sabihin ng Philippine flag. Okay? Todos los poderes necesarios para la efectividad administración de su gobierno, incluyendo las prerrogativas del perdón y la amnistía. Y por último, se resolvió unánimemente que esta nación, independiente desde este día, debe usar la misma bandera usada hasta ahora, cuyo diseño y colores se describen en el adjunto dibujo representando en colores naturales las tres armas ya referidas. So ito yung nabanggit niya that a common flag should already be used, okay, as a nation. Binanggit din niya ibig sabihin ng flag. El triángulo blanco representante el emblema distintivo de la famosa Sociedad del Katipunan que medio de este pacto de sangre sugirió a las masas del pueblo la urgencia de la insurrección, las tres estrellas, and others. Okay, so ngayon, tatalakayin natin ang ibig sabihin ng Philippine flag, yung design sa Philippine flag. Okay. So sinabi dito, the picture here is the original Philippine flag. Okay, ito nasa National Museum po iyan. This is the Philippine flag, the original Philippine flag, the first Philippine flag. Okay. The white triangle, this one, okay, signifying the distinctive emblem of the famous Society of the Katipunan. So, binanggit doon, ito ang triangle, ang sumisimbolo, okay, sa Katipunan. Please take note kung bakit triangle iyan, because during the foundation of the KKK, okay, Aguinaldo, Plata, and the other one, the first three who really worked for the formation or establishment of the KKK, okay, made use of the triangular approach, okay, in motivating Filipinos to be members of the KKK, yung triangle. Ibig sabihin, kapag ikaw si Bonifacio, kailangan maghanap ng tatlong tao na maging miyembro, tapos yung tatlong kinuha niya, maghanap ng tatlo. That's why triangle is a very symbolic figure or shape for KKK. Now, the Philippine flag has 3 stars, okay, signifying the 3 principal islands of this archipelago, Luzon, Mindanao, and Panay. Please take note, wala pang Visayas dyan. Panay lamang po ang nabanggit. Ang Panay ay isang isla lamang sa Visayas region. Kaya nga, when I visited Negros Occidental, okay, Negros Island, it's not part of Panay. Ang Panay, itong tatawag nating kabilang sa Panay ay ang tinatawag ay yung Boracay. Okay? Boracay is part of Panay Island, ano pa, Aklan and others. So these are Panay, these are provinces under Panay Island. Kaya sinasabi ng mga taga Negros na sila daw ay separate country, okay, during the time of prior the coming of America, prior the coming of USA. Okay? Isa silang malayang bansa. Hiwalay sila sa Pilipinas mga panahon na iyon. Well, it's true. Kasi nakita ko rin kung paano ang meron silang sariling gobyerno, meron silang sariling leader, ang Negros Island noon. Kasi nga, hindi ni-recognize ang Negros na bahagi ng Pilipinas sa mga panahon na iyon. The sun, representing the gigantic steps made by the sons of the country. The sons of the country are referring to the KKK. The eight rays, signifying the eight provinces, Manila, Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Bataan, Laguna, and Batangas. These were the eight provinces, okay, who really participated in the Philippine Revolution. And the colors of blue, red, and white, commemorating the flag of the United States of America as a manifestation of our profound gratitude towards this great nation for its disinterested protection which it lent us and continues lending us. So it's a sign of gratitude. That's why they adopted the color of the American flag because of our gratitude to America who have helped us, to be freed from Spanish rule. Now, the first Philippine flag was sewn by Doña Marcela Agoncillo, Lorenza Agoncillo, and Delfina Herbosa de Natividad in Hong Kong. It was first flown in the battle on May 28, 1898. This is the Philippine Revolution, and formally unfurled during the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Okay? Ito, as provided by Philippine government site, ito po yung ibig sabihin nung bahagi ng ating flag. So ito, okay, ito yung original flag. Okay? Itong colors na ito, white, blue, and red, it's because of our gratitude to USA. Okay, ito yung flag ng USA dati in 1777. Okay, as we have said, it was first used in the Battle of Alapan, May 28, 1898, formally presented during the Declaration of Independence in June 12, 1898. Itong sun, okay, itong sun naman, itong 8 rays of the sun represents the different provinces, okay, the first 8 provinces that revolted against Spain. That's Manila, Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Bataan, Laguna, and Batangas. Okay? Tapos, itong sun na ito ay base sa Katipunan flag, okay? Andres Bonifacio's personal flag, first used in August 22, 1896. Ito yung personal flag ni Andres Bonifacio sa KKK bilang leader ng KKK noon, at kinuha itong sun na ito bilang nilagay dito sa Philippine flag. Okay? So ito yan, nag-revolve siya. Ang flag ng Katipunan ay nag-evolve from, okay, was referred from the light of liberty, the Katipunan symbol, the light of liberty, which was based from the flag of Argentina, the flag of Peru, and flag of Uruguay. All these are colonies of Spain before and were able to free themselves from Spain, okay, during those years. So, binase yan ng Katipunan dito sa Argentina, Peru, at Uruguay na part ng South American continent. Okay? Kaya nga ito rin si Uruguay ay binasa niya yung line din niya sa USA kasi si USA tumulong din dun sa liberty ng Uruguay from Spain. Okay? So this one. Then okay, itong triangle din ito, okay, ay base din doon sa Eye of Providence adopted by Freemasonry in 18th century in the Philippines. Okay, ito kasi simbolo ng triangle din. At the same time, it's the Great Seal of the United States also, yung triangle, at kinuha iyan ng Katipunan. So triangle din sila dito, triangle din ng Katipunan flag dyan, tapos triangle dito ang arrangement ng KKK, at saka ito rin ay triangle din na pinapakita. So dyan base yung triangle din sa Philippine flag. Okay? How about, okay, this one, yung stars, okay? The stars, ay kinuha niya sa Cuba, Kasi may star ang Cuba, na naging kolonya rin ng Spain. Ang Texas din ay may star, na naging kolonya rin ng Spain ito naging bagong province ng state ng USA. Then we also have star sa Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico and Cuba are also previous colonies of Spain. Okay, so yan. Even Texas. So dyan kinuha yung mga stars. Ngayon, ang ibig sabihin ng stars naman na tatlo to represent the main islands of Philippines. We have Luzon, Panay, and Mindanao. Panay is somewhere here. Okay? And yung ganitong shape naman ay binase doon sa port flags ng Iloilo, port flags ng Manila, okay? And at the same time, yung flags ni Gregorio del Pilar at Pio del Pilar. So, ito yung commander's standard. So, kaya ginaya din dyan. So, ang ating watawat ay meron talagang kasaysayan at mayroong ibig sabihin o pinapahiwatig ang bawat simbolo na pinapakita dito na kailangan mo unawaan ng bawat isa sa atin nang sa ganun ay lalo nating mapaigting ang ating pagiging nasyonalista natin at ang pagmamahal natin sa ating sariling bansa. At nang sa ganun ma-recognize din natin yung efforts ng ating mga bayani o kay tungo sa ating kalayaan. Okay? Now, idagdag ko lang po ito, hindi to parte ng document, but I need to add it for your information and for you to learn about. The Executive Order 179 Series of 1994 and Republic Act Number 8491. It was on May 24, 1994, President Fidel V. Ramos signed Executive Order 179 Series 1994, which ordered the display of the national flag in all buildings, establishments, and homes from May 28 to June 12, 1994. And on February 12, 1998, the same president approved Republic Act Number 8491, prescribing the code of the national flag anthem, motto, coat of arms, and other heraldic items and devices of the Philippines. Kaya marapat lamang na alamin natin ang mga bagay-bagay na ito. First, how to properly display the Philippine flag. Okay? Government offices, primary, secondary schools, and private institutions who fly the Philippine flag on a flagpole in their compound must observe the flag raising ceremony, okay, every Monday morning, and the flag lowering ceremony every Friday afternoon. So, raising ceremony every Monday, then lowering ceremony every Friday. That is based on the rules and regulations of the RA 8491. And how to properly display the Philippine flag also, flags displayed outside the building must be at the prominent location. Yung kitang-kita dapat yung flag. Location in relation to the surrounding buildings. Dapat kitang-kita, so ganyan siya. Flags can be hung from a staff projecting upward, okay, from a wall, window, roof, balcony, or suspended from a roof to a pole erected away from the building. So, pag ganito, erected away dapat siya from the building. Para na siguro makita pa rin yung furling or yung paggogayway ng nasabing watawat. How to properly display the Philippine flag, another that we have to consider, okay? If the flag is displayed on a flagpole, it shall have the blue field on top in times of peace. Then, the red field on top in times of war. So, kung merong labanan, ang nasa itaas ay yung pula. Pag mapayapa at walang labanan, ang nasa itaas ay ang asul. Okay? Ngayon, ang pagkakalagay naman ng flag, okay, when it's hung vertically. If the flag is hanging vertically, the sun and stars should be on top. Okay, the sun and stars should be on top, while the blue field should be on the left in times of peace. Pero in times of war, ang red ay nasa ang blue ay nasa right, ang red ang nasa left. Okay? Tayo lang sa iba-ibang sa lahat ng bansa sa daigdig, tayo lang ang merong ganyan. Yan ang isang bagay na unique tayo, that we have different ways of unfurling our flag or waving our flag, depende sa sitwasyon at depende sa kalagayan ng ating bansa. Now, this is how to properly fold the Philippine national flag. First, the flag must be handled by two people on opposite ends of the flag. Okay, yan. May tagahawak dyan. The blue field must be aligned to the left-hand side of the person. Ito, left-hand side of the person is standing at the head of the flag, where the sun is. So ito ang basehan, ito, before it's folded over. Okay, so ganyan. Then after that, flipping it over, the blue field of the flag must look like the photo above. So ganyan dapat ang itsura ng blue flag. Another fold must be made quartering the flag lengthwise, completely hiding the red field. So kailangan naka-hide yung red field. Okay, so ang makita lang sa magkabilaan when you are to fold this quarter, when you have to fold in a quarter, okay, walang makikitang red sa labas. Blue lang ang makikita. Then, one end of the flag must be folded diagonally to form a small triangle. So ito, ganyan siya. Then repeatedly folded the same way, keeping the triangular shape intact. The folded flag must have one of the stars and only a silver of the blue field visible. So, ganyan dapat itsura ng folded. Meron isang nakalabas na isang star. So, ganun po yung pagkaka-fold ng Philippine flag. Now, this is the timeline of our Philippine flag. Okay? Ito ang timeline niya. Sabi natin noong 1898, okay, the first Philippine Republic, okay, ganyan po yung pagkakaano ng flag, nasa itaas po yung red. Because that time, there were still battles or conflicts or wars, okay, during 1898 to 1901. Kaya ganyan yung flag natin kasi nga in times of peace, in times of war, kailangan nasa itaas yung red. Then, in 1905, ganyan na po siya ang ginamit. In 1907 to 1919, because we are under the American rule, yung American flag na ang ginagamit natin, binalik noong 1936, the Commonwealth period. Okay? So yan, nagkaroon ng ganyan. We will discuss about the Commonwealth period later during the discussion on the Philippine cartoons. Okay? Philippine cartoons na, no? Not Philippine cartoons, but should I say the discussion on Commission on Independence. Commission on Independence grievances, Filipino grievances against Governor Wood. Yan. Then, 1936, ganyan na po siya. 1941 to 1945, ayan po. Then, 1942, hindi natin ginamit ang flag natin, ginamit natin ang Japanese flag because that was after World War II. Then, October 4, gumamit ulit tayo ng flag natin, sariling flag, then others, then this one. In 1944, 1945, okay, this is the ano pala, Japan's colonization, and this one is the World War II already. So, nagkaroon ng ganitong flag kasi nga merong war. Okay, then 1945, binalik sa blue ang nasa taas. Tapos, napalitan ng kulay nito noong 1985, naging lighter yung blue niya. Okay, because of Executive Order number 1010 of 1985. Then, after that, ito na po yung kasalukuyan natin ginagamit na flag. Ito na po yung kasalukuyan natin ginagamit na Philippine flag. So, that's the timeline of our flag. Okay? The music composed by Julian Felipe did not use lyrics during the Declaration of Philippines. So, music lang ginagamit noon, wala pang lyrics noon. Okay, the lyrics was from Jose Palma from his poem Filipinas in 1898. And final Filipino lyrics was revised in 1960s. Okay? Now, allow me to play dito po. This is Zambanang Aguinaldo, Cavite, Viejo, Province of Cavite, in June 12, 1898. Ito yung original na picture. Okay, dito na declare yung Philippine independence. So, that is Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista and not Emilio Aguinaldo. Okay? So, papakita natin sa inyo, I'll share to you yung, to-play natin yung, we'll try to play the Philippine, play natin sorry. We'll play the Philippine National Anthem. Okay, nakita nyo? Okay, this is the Spanish version. tu pareció que esta tierra victoria y conmigo no verás nunca apagado estrellas y sol, tierra de vinos, besos y amor, entre los es la gloria, oro, contigo, solo de un beso y morir. Okay, that's in English version. This is the Filipino version or Tagalog version. Okay, please take note that during the early times or during the rule of the presidency or leadership of Emilio Aguinaldo, we make use of the Spanish version. Okay, as based from which was based on the poem written by Jose Palma. Okay, so we make use of the Spanish version. But during the American times, during the Commonwealth period, we make use of the English version of our national anthem. It was only during the time of Manuel Quezon, who was the author of, or who was the one who made use of Filipino as our national language, that we already make use of the Filipino version of the national anthem. Okay, please take note of that. Okay? So, yon. So, yun po yung kasaysayan ng ating Philippine National Anthem. Now, we continue our discussion. Please take note that there were only 98 persons who signed the Declaration of Independence. So, 98 po nag-sign. Okay? Wala pong American representatives na nag-attend. Okay? Doon sa nasabing proclamation. Medyo nag-worry ang Mabini during that time kasi parang nakikita ni Mabini na baka interesado nga talaga ang USA na sakupin ng Pilipinas. Pero yun naman talagang kasunduan ng Spain at ng Amerika doon sa Treaty of Paris na binenta tayo sa $20 million. Okay? So, pero walang nag-attend during the declaration. And please take note also that walang Andres Bonifacio. Okay, not Andres Bonifacio. Walang Emilio Aguinaldo na nag-sign doon sa nasabing document. Emilio Aguinaldo's signature or even name has never been seen. Okay, was not part of the declaration. Wala po siyang pangalan doon sa nasabing document. Tingnan natin ha. Pakita ko sa inyo yung document. Balikan natin yung document at ipakita ko sa inyo yung mismong ito. Wala pong Emilio Aguinaldo dito Okay, ito po yung mga nag-sign. Walang Emilio Aguinaldo nag-sign po dito. Nabanggit lang yung pangalan niya sa document pero wala siyang signature dun sa last part na nasabing document. Okay? So, kapag ang tanong ay, nag-sign ba si Emilio Aguinaldo sa Declaration of Independence? Ang sagot ay hindi. Okay, wala siyang signature doon. Okay? Now, what's the importance and relevance of this document? Please take note of the following. That the document, okay, shows the most significant achievement of Aguinaldo's dictatorial government. And that achievement is the declaration of Philippine independence from Spanish authorities. The Philippines was proclaimed independent after decades of being a colony of Spain. That is more than 300 years of being a colony of Spain. And it's because of this that we have earned our own identity as a nation. Okay? Then the document is also an affirmation of the abuses or the not so good experiences of the Filipinos under Spanish rule or under Spanish colonial government. Atrocities of the Spaniards towards Filipinos, the struggles of the Filipinos for independence, and also an affirmation of the dictatorial government under Emilio Aguinaldo. The Declaration of Independence is a major step in creating the Filipino identity. And that identity is that the identity being created by this Declaration of Independence is our wanting of freedom, our wanting of liberty. The very first and solid proof for the struggle of the Filipinos for independence is the Declaration. It serves as a culmination of our existence as a nation and as a state, and it marks the start of the beginning where Filipinos had these constitutional rights. There was a time that the celebration of Philippine independence was moved to July 4. Okay? I think that was the leadership of Macapagal by the father of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. But it was returned to July 12 because that was really our independence then in July 12. And June 12 should I say. Parang yun ang pinaka-ultimate, okay? Ultimate feeling of Philippine nationhood. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung ating pagkakaisa bilang buong bansa ay nagsimula nung panahon na iyon. Okay, parang nasundan lang ng July 4, 1946 when we were given independence from American colonial rule. Okay, so that's about the Declaration of Independence. Any question as regards the document you might want to ask? Any question, class? If your internet connection is low, you may make use of the chat room, okay, of the chat feature of the Google Meet for you to type your questions and for me to answer. You might want to clarify something out from the document. O tulog na kayo? Tulog na ba kayo?
Sir, may tatanong po ako.
Yes, please.
Sir, dun po sa 3 stars, ibig sabihin po ba hindi talaga nire-represent nung isa yung Visayas katulad ng alam ng nakararami, sir?
Yeah, hindi po. Panay. It's Panay. Okay, ang alam kasi natin is yung Visayas. Pero na ano yan parang binago siya to already include. Okay, to already include. But originally, it's really Panay, not the whole Visayas. Okay? It's really Panay, not the whole Visayas. Pero nabago lang siya nabago na lamang siya noong kailangan isalin na yung ibang isla sa Visayas. Kasi during that time, hindi pa ata nadidiscover yung iba pang isla sa Visayas region. Kasama na nga yung Negros doon, hindi pa nadidiscover. Pero nadiscover na ang mga isla sa Visayas region, kaya naisama na siya as part of as a representation of the Philippine flag. Okay? Thank you, Regeline, for that clarification. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
So, originally, that's the meaning of the 3 stars. Okay? Laila is asking, sir, what do you mean by gigantic step made by the sun? Sabi dun sa meaning ng symbol po ng sun. The gigantic step, Laila, we are referring to, for the information of the class, we are referring to the things that members of the Katipunan or the Katipuneros did, okay, from forming of the KKK, from doing the different, from organizing different battles or different wars against Spain. Okay, these are all gigantic steps made by the sons of the country. Even the Philippine Revolution by Magdalo Group, and even the revolutionary movement by the Magdiwang Group. These are all gigantic steps. Okay, that we are referring to. Okay, na sinisimbolo ng nasabing sun. At nakita rin natin dun sa simbolo, dun sa symbolisms, na yung sun talaga ay ginagamit na ng mga katipunero ng mga panahon na iyon to represent how eager they are, okay, in seeking for freedom or seeking for liberty from Spanish authorities. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Thank you, Laila. Any other question? Might want to ask some questions? Yung paglagay natin, paglapat natin ng ating mga palad dito sa left, upper left ng ating dibdib, ay nakuha din natin yan sa USA. Okay, kaya huwag kayo magtaka kung bakit kapag sinakanta ng USA yung kanilang national anthem, nilalagay din nilang kanilang palad dito sa upper left corner ng kanilang dibdib. At similarly, we are also doing it. Kinuha lang natin sa kanila. Okay? Meaning to say, sinasa puso natin kung ano man yung inaawit natin kapag inaawit natin ang ating pambansang awit. Please take note when someone would ask you, what is our national anthem? Do not answer Bayang Magiliw, okay? Maraming sumasagot ng ganyan. What is our Philippine national anthem? Sabi nila, Bayang Magiliw. That's the start, that's the first line in the lyrics of the national anthem. But our national anthem is Lupang Hinirang. Okay, hindi po Bayang Magiliw. Okay? Nilinawin lang po natin iyon. Okay, any other questions? Kaya nga, di ba, dun sa palitan, dun sa kailangan bang palitan ng kailangan bang palitan ang lyrics ng ating national anthem? Okay, yun ang inyong sasagutin, no? Dun sa ating assessment this week. You have to answer that and you have to contribute. You have to respond also to your classmates' response as regards the question. Okay, should we have to change the lyrics? Meron din dun sa article sinasabi na may proposal na baguhin din yung design. Okay, nagdagdagan daw ng panibagong ray, an additional one ray, yung sun sa Philippine flag to represent Muslim Mindanao. Okay, yun naman sinasabi nila. Okay, nagdagdagan daw ng panibagong ray. Okay, so do you agree with that or not? Okay, you write your responses, you participate in discussion thread as part of your assessment task this week. Okay? So, ayan po, nandito po yung yung i-share ko yung gagawin ninyo, no? Ito po yung gagawin ninyo this week. Share it. Ito po yung gagawin ninyo this week, assessment. Okay. Sana iyon. Ito, learning conversation. Please do not forget to study the rubric. Nandito po yung rubric. I-study the rubric para magabayan kayo na magkaroon kayo ng magandang score dito sa sabing task or assessment task. Okay, ang assessment po ninyo ay ito. Read the news article. You have to click this link. Then share your response to the below question to contribute your quality insights in the discussion thread. Should the Philippines change the lyrics of its national anthem? Okay, so meron na nakasagot nga. Okay, may mga sumagot na 4. Okay, so please do not forget to reply to their answers also. Okay, and respond to your classmates' answer also to the question. Okay, should it be changed or not? Okay, so ilagay po ninyo dyan sa ating, sagutin po ninyo yung assessment task po natin. Okay, any other question as regards this? Might want to ask other question, please. Mark, okay ka lang? Mark Vincent? O kayo po ba ay gising pa? Gising pa ba?
Okay lang po, sir.
Okay lang, okay. Kala ko tulog na kayo. Okay then. So next meeting, we will have a quiz on the Declaration of Independence. That will be on Tuesday. Okay, there will be a quiz on Tuesday about this document. Okay, so please prepare for the quiz. Okay, malinaw po ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
okay, good. So again, and today, maybe this afternoon, I'll encode your grades already in the grade book. Then so that you would know how I computed your grades. Tignan lang ninyo kung paano, no? Pwede naman kayo mag-compute ng grade ninyo. Yung ano po, yung quizzes po natin, we have two quizzes, no? Quiz 1 and quiz 2. That is 21 item yung una, 25 items yung pangalawa, total of 46, and that is 25% of your grade. Okay? 25% of your grade. Yung mga homework activities ninyo, we have two, 20 points each. Okay? That is 40. Ano, isa lang palang homework ninyo, no? Isang homework lang, that is 15% of your grade. Tapos yung learning task ninyo, dalawa po, that is 20% of your grade. And that makes up 60% of your grade. Tapos yung exam niyo, 100 items, that is 40%. Anyway, tinuruan ko naman kayo kung paano i-compute. You review dun sa preliminary part of our lesson. Okay, nandun po yung formula on how to compute your grades para alam din ninyong i-compute yung nasabing grades ninyo. But within this day, I'll encode in the grade book your preliminary grade for you to be aware of it and for you to be guided on what else to improve or how will you still earn or how will you still increase your grade for midterms and for finals. The midterm exam will be on November 4, I think, after the Todos dos Santos, after All Saints Day and All Souls Day, ang inyong midterm exam. And we hope to be able to finish all the primary sources. Okay, so kabilang dyan yung Declaration of Independence. After Declaration of Independence, we will uh, we will uh, we will we will discuss about the Philippine cartoons, about after Philippine cartoons, we will discuss about the Commission on Independence grievances against Filipino grievances against Governor Wood. Then after that, we will have the paintings, okay? The paintings of Amorsolo and Luna and Amorsolo's paintings. Then after discussing their paintings, we will proceed immediately to Corazon Aquino's speech before the U.S. Congress. Then after Corazon Aquino's speech before the U.S. Congress, we will discuss about the termination of martial law by Ferdinand Marcos, the video of Ferdinand Marcos terminating martial law. Then after that, we will discuss about the Raiders of Sulusi, about Muslim Mindanao, about early traditions of Muslim Mindanao, the culture of pre-colonial Muslims in the Mindanao region of the Philippines. Then after that, we will proceed to the controversies. Yung dalawang controversy lang ang sakop ng midterm exam. We will have the first mass. Where is the first mass in the Philippines? Is it in Butuan or in Limasawa? Then after that, we will also discuss the end of the last unit of the last lesson for midterms would all be about um, ano ba yung isa? I forgot. The last part is sorry, I have to refer. Okay, the last part is the first mass. Then after the first mass, we will discuss about uh, we will discuss about the Cavite mutiny. Okay, whether the Cavite mutiny is a labor issue or a labor issue or is it a labor issue or a mutiny or a rise against Spanish government. So we will be discussing that. Those will be the coverage of our those topics will include the coverage of our midterm examination. Okay. Any other question? Any other question, class?
None po, sir.
Okay, we have 19 people. Again, please learn from. Thank you, Joanna, for typing your response. So, Fiorina, also thank you. Okay, so please learn from. Was the one who shared a while ago. The highest one, the one who got the highest grade. Okay, you learn from her when she shared that when you're listening to lectures, online lectures, you take down notes or you replay all recorded video discussions or video lectures, and at the same time, you take down important notes when you read the modules in the LMS. Okay, with that, thank you for attending our class. Again, we will have a quiz. Okay, the first 1 hour on Tuesday, tama. The first 1 hour on Monday will be for your quiz. Then after that, we will meet we will have a Google Meet for the discussion of the next part of our lesson. Then on Wednesday next week, we will continue our discussion. Our next discussion is about the Commission Independence Filipino grievances against Governor Wood, no? So we will have that next week. Okay, then the week after next week, Monday, there will also be a quiz on the discussion on Commission Independence and others. So ganun yung gagawin natin. Every Monday will be our quiz. Every after we discuss a certain lesson in class. Okay, kasi nung prelims, dalawa lang yung quiz natin. Dapat tatlo ang quizzes natin, pero nakadalawa lang tayo because of the discussions that we had. Okay, anyway, I expect you to help yourself may chat si Sir for clarification lang po. Yung sa autobiography po at biography. Sabi po sa Google biography po, it is an account of someone's life written by someone else. Yeah, parang baliktad siya, no? Okay. Anyway, we will clarify this, Eris. Now we will try to check. Yung bang sagot niyo, Eris? Eris, check na natin. Baka nagkamali lang yung it should be biography or not. Okay, check natin. Okay, biography. Okay. Biography is a usually written history of a person's life. Okay. A written history of a person's life, an account of the life of something and others. That's biography. So, pag sinabi natin autobiography, okay, autobiography is the biography of a person narrated by himself or herself. So, tama po tayo. Autobiography is the biography of a person narrated by himself or herself. That's autobiography. So, baliktad po, no? A biography is an account of someone's life written by someone else. Okay? So, if your answer, okay, ganito, para ma-correct natin na bago ko ma-post yung grades ninyo. If in case that your answer for that question, whether autobiography is, check natin sa assessment. Okay, allow me to share, no? Wag muna tayo meron pa tayong 5 minutes. Allow me to share the screen. Thank you for clarifying that, Eris. Okay, baka nabaliktad talaga. We check. Okay. Assessment. Check natin. Okay. Preliminary exam. Nakikita na ninyo? Questions. Anong question iyon? Yung ating autobiography, no? An autobiography about Ferdinand Marcos. So, ibig sabihin autobiography is Ferdinand Marcos, meaning to say, siya mismo yung nagsulat ng kanyang buhay. Check natin anong sagot dito. Secondary siya. So, the answer is supposed to be primary source, no? Should be primary source. Okay, edit natin para ma-correct na kayo. Edit natin. Okay. The correct answer is primary source. Okay, save. Okay, then you'll check kung may nagbago doon sa score. I-check na ninyo kung may nagbago doon sa score. Okay, anyway. Okay, I'll check kung may nagbago doon sa score. Okay, so certainly mababago yung score ninyo. Okay, certainly mababago yung score ninyo dyan sa exam. I-check natin kung sorry ha, naipakita ko na, sorry. Sensya na. Okay, so check natin kung may pagbabago sa score. Yeah, may pagbabago din sa score ni Tan Olga. Okay, naging 81 yung kanyang score. Okay, si Moninho naging 80. Okay, then the others naging increase yung kanilang score. Okay, so okay na po ba iyon? Okay na yun? Automatic na check na siya. Okay na po? So it's a primary source. Mali lang yung naitag na sagot. Okay? Any other concern on the exam? Para bago ko i-post yung inyong grade? O mag-respond naman kayo thank you. Okay, welcome, Aries. About the others? So So, nag-increase ng 1 point ata yung most of you. Okay, meron 1 point additional. Okay, check natin mamaya kung may pagbabago sa grade later. Okay? So, if there are no more questions ba? Wala nang question? Okay na po, sir. Sabi ni Fiola, okay na po, sir. Sabi ni Daniel. Wala pa bang mga issues with regards to exam? Wala na? Wala na. Thank you, Laila. Si Laila ang una nagtanong nun, no? Laila, ikaw yung una nagtanong nun, no? Ay, hindi. Tama, si Laila yung una nagtanong noon. Okay. Anyway, nabago naman automatic mababago yung score ninyo doon kasi sinet ko naman yung tamang sagot. And if there are no more concerns as regards the prelim exam, okay, so that's already the final score. Then I'll upload your grades later in the system. Okay, in the LMS for you to know about it. Okay. So thank you for attending, and may we have then Mark Vincent to lead us the closing prayer. Mark, please.
Manalangin po tayo. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, salamat po sa pagkakataon na to at marami naman po kaming natutunan. At sana po patuloy niyo po kaming gabayan sa mga araw-araw mga araw-araw po namin. At salamat po sa mga biyayang pinagkaloob niyo po sa amin. And yun lang po. Amen.
Ama, ng anak,
In the name of the Father.
Amen. Salamat, Mark, sa iyong panalangin. Okay, yung mga iba, okay, please continue to help yourself. And if you do have concerns, you can message me. Please message me through my Facebook account. Pasensya na kung hindi ko yung ma-add na friend lahat, ha? Kasi masyadong marami na akong friends sa 5,000 na ata. So, kailangan ko mag-delete para sa inyo kung ganon. Okay, pero you can message me in the Facebook if you have concerns. At yung mga ano pala, yung pag may ma-miss kayo ng mga activities, so far wala naman nakamiss, no? Pag may ma-miss kayo mga activities, please visit the Facebook page of the university. Nandun po yung link kung paano kayo mag-ask ng permission for special assessment task. Okay? So,